So an 18th successive loss for the Welsh international team, and it's hard to think now, where do we go from here? There is clearly a fundamental issue within Welsh rugby, within the international setup, and unfortunately within this group of players, because we've seen chopped and changed, players come in, players go out, different coaches. It's fundamentally the same issue we're having. This one was probably the most painful one for me. No disrespect to Japan, but player for player, we're better than them. We should be expecting to beat them. Of course, the conditions were a bit of a leveller, but the rugby that was being produced by the Welsh players was not conducive with a bunch of players who had any level of confidence and really ability, to be honest. I questioned the game plan because it seemed like there was a lot of trying not to lose rather than win, which is understandable when you're in such a terrible rut. But I said on my main channel, this was just two poor teams lacking in confidence and lacking in quality, trying to produce a game. And ultimately, the ones who had the more heart, Japan, who came out in that second half and the fourth quarter and just really wanted it more. And all the Welsh players, pretty much to a man, bar a couple, went into their shell, and no one really offered anything. There was a couple of issues with the scrum. That was 88%. I thought that would be an area of dominance. It felt to me like Nicky Smith was getting a bit of dominance over his opposite number, but no one else really backed him up. When the bench came on, didn't really improve things. I think Gareth Thomas has been on a slow decline over the last couple of years, quietly, and I think this was, he showed maybe that he's just not where he was a couple of years ago. But the line-out was crucially the biggest issue to me. That was surprisingly at 79%, which is way higher than I thought it was watching the game. It felt like it was a lot less. We had 4 line-out jumpers, so you can't really say that there was a lack of variety, different targets. A lot of the times the throws were pretty good. Derry Lake might come under a lot of heat for the line-out, but I thought a lot of the time the throws were hitting their intended target, but Japan were getting up quicker and getting to the ball easier. I don't know whether they knew our line-out calls. It certainly felt like that, because especially in that second half, I think there was about 5 or 6 in a row which got turned over, battered down. The halfbacks were a massive issue for me. I called for Costello to get this start, and I thought he was a good option given he was going in with some form, and I was proven to be wrong with that one. He just didn't really get the game by the scruff. To me, it looked like Ben Thomas was dictating a lot of what was going on, and he basically didn't pass the ball out. I don't think anyone really outside of Ben Thomas got the ball more than once. Johnny Williams was anonymous. The wing players did well with the very little they had, but they didn't really have anything. I thought Josh Adams did justify his selection, considering a lot of people were saying he was past it, but you saw in the very few chances he had, there was moments of quality. Blair Murray, we didn't get him into the game at all. And just generally, the pack was disappointing. Kieran Hardy, though, I think was the most disappointing player. I shouldn't really call players out. I know it's difficult, they're trying, but I don't understand what he was attempting to do in that game. It must have been coming from the coaches that he needs to slow everything down, but he was way too slow. He kept getting caught at the base, and his box kicking, he wasn't setting up his protection properly, and it was dreadful, and he probably should have been pulled off and wasn't, unfortunately. So where do we go from here now? There's not a lot you can do, unfortunately. Kieran has a right. He's a player who's caught a lot of flack in my comments on my channel. People saying he's not up to international standards, kind of proved them right. There's not a lot of players you can bring in. Maybe a Plumtree might improve things. Maybe different balance in the centre partnerships, changing the halfbacks probably is a good idea. But really, you're sending out a group of players who've got no confidence. And it really felt to me like there was just a lack of character, and I've never said that about this group of players in all of the time I've done this channel, because I've never felt that way, but this time I really did. So really disappointing, really sad, and yeah, Welsh rugby is rotten to the core in my opinion, and it's not going to change anytime soon. unless there's some fundamental and deep-rooted changes done in the setup. So, yeah, coming in hot today because I'm really just fed up of it, to be honest. I'm fed up of what us as Welsh fans are expected to support, and how are they going to sell tickets for the autumn internationals? I have no idea, but they're going to have to try somehow. But that's my thoughts. Hope Ben Carter's okay just to finish. Really nasty bump right at the start. Frustrating for him considering he's dealt with a lot of injuries recently, so hopefully he's okay and he can be good for next season, come back stronger. But that's all from me. Follow Dragon Sports and I'll catch you on the next one.